you like a narration. Like, my name's Kieran Walsh. I've been a milkman since 13th of March 1981.
Are you comfy?
Yes, I'm all right now.
13th of March, how do you know the date so well?
Well, sorry. Well, when you've been doing this job for this length of time, 41 years, you know when you started. You've got to be ready for anything. You can have a storm could occur. You can get a flat tyre any moment. You've got to know how to deal with these things. A flat tyre is an absolute nightmare. Maintenance people who looked after the floats, the mechanic made a real major blunder. He forgot to tighten the nuts on the wheels. We was in Stratford and I got to Victoria Park. The next thing, the milk float veered off to the left and the wheel fell off. They sent a vehicle recovery company out. So I managed to get back and we took out another float and I ended up having to do the round, you know, maybe three hours behind. When you're young and you was a milkman, it was difficult to have a social life because all your mates were going out and to the pubs and discotheques and the clubs like till quite late, whereas the time they were coming in, you was going off to work. Objects on these roundabouts, and they look like witches' hats. Up by Dagenham. I don't quite understand what they're about, to be honest. If you can see it there on the roundabout, look at it. It is like a witch's hat. This is where the bottles get placed in the pallets and they get recycled. A lot of people in the city have become more conscious of because of the David Attenborough films about the oceans and the planet and how we've got to take care of it a bit more. That's the fridge. This itself is the fridge. If you look in there, you can see. So today's not a very busy day. Another type of milk that's selling well now is alternative milks, like the Oatly milks and the almond, the soya milk. One of our little problems, that's a leaker. So that has to be changed. And the thing is spotting it in the plastic packaging before you go out. Otherwise you're going to be short. It's going to be a bit messy, but that's life. We'll change it over. When you're a milkman, there's something inbuilt in you that makes you make sure that you get everybody delivered to, and I mean everybody without fail. I guess it's a bit of a macho thing as well, like you're the man who never let anyone down, and that's the truth of the matter, is that's how I was. I've never missed a day's work in my life, and that is over, what are we now? We're looking at 42 years. My dad was always saying, he always said to me, like, his main thing was, he said, son, nobody owes you a living, right? And I've taken them words with me through my life because I don't put my hand out to anywhere to get my money. I'm a West Ham fan, and it was in the late 1980s, early 90s. We was playing a team called Oldham, and it was up in Oldham's ground. Went up there in the semi-final of this cup and we got hammered 6-0. And we got soaking wet as well because there wasn't a roof on the stand where the away supporters was. And I got home and I got inside the house, and this was at about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I found that my back door had been kicked in and my wallet had been taken from the mantelpiece, and there was like, I'd lost about £300 in cash. Plus I had a video recorder at the time. The young people probably don't know what a video recorder is anymore, like, but back in the day they was wonderful to just put in a film whenever you wanted to watch any film. You could just put in a film, like, and it was just marvellous. But yeah, they'd stolen that. From that point, it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. I had to go off to work at 4. So I just had a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and off I went. I've only got an electric vehicle licence. Never had a petrol licence back in '81. They were short of milkmen actually at the time, so they were giving out driving tests on the milk floats. It's classified as a full licence, right? But it only allows you to drive electric vehicles and lawnmowers. So it could have been a gardener as well, I suppose. I don't think anyone saw back then that there would be all these electric cars and vans and Supreme, which allows me to drive them. And I'm competent at driving one because I drive the electric van now. Restaurants wise, I had probably nearly maybe 120. That was one round, yeah. It was seriously big. We was turning over nearly approximately £10,000 a week on there, whereas most milk rounds were turning over 2,000. I used to supply this restaurant, Vinoteca. That's when I used to do all the restaurants and stuff.
What happened with the restaurants?
I became ill. I had to eventually stop working back in 2017 because I couldn't walk anymore. And I'd been really struggling with it because for about 10 years the doctors hadn't really found the problem that I was having, and it ended up being severe osteoarthritis in both my hips, which led to me being pretty much disabled. I was doing the restaurants. I was originally doing about 12 hours, but as I got more and more injured with the osteoarthritis, it ended up being about 18 hours a day because I couldn't do it quicker. I couldn't do it quickly enough. Everything was building up on you. The debts were building up. You couldn't tackle the work as quickly as you wanted to. You got home and you're supposed to do the paperwork, but you was getting home so late, and I had to just stop in the end. A company that supplied me took the calls off me and decided to do them themselves. Like, I see a specialist surgeon for the hips, and he said, "You've had this for 12 years." I said, "Yeah." I said, "You're the only one who's actually picked up on it." And he said, "You know you're going to need 2 new hips." I said, "I can't wait." I said, I've lost all my mobility. I'm, you know.
So you could have sued the NHS?
Yeah, on that, I should have perhaps done it, but then again, I also felt obligated to them as well because they did fix me after all. It might have been quite a long way down the line when they did it, but they actually did fix me. I couldn't walk before, and now I can walk. I've got most of my manoeuvrability back. I've lost sort of a business in as a result of it. But to be honest, I was coming towards the end of being able to do that level of work anyway. It's to keep them colder and to protect them as well. People tend not to touch the box, believe it or not, but it also keeps the milk a bit cold. If there was any defining moment to say a lot about me, was I went to work the day we buried my dad. I set out at 12 o'clock at night and worked through till 7 o'clock in the morning.
Were you close to him, you say?
In a funny sort of way, yeah. Everybody in the family respected him, and his word was like, you know. I did find it a bit of a thing when I thought, like, do I really want to be doing this job anymore? When you hit that situation that you're putting your job before, technically speaking, the funeral of my dad, or along that level. Really, everybody else being complete like shutdown. But I was still managing to operate, make decisions in a time of total stress and sorrow, if you know what I mean. And that's hard. Not a lot of people want to get up at the times that we do, or even before that, and work through the night. It's not everybody's cup of tea. You might be not sure what I'm doing there, but these lay sideways in the fridge. They used to have different colour tops, but to save money, the dairies have made them all the same colour. So as a part of the service now, I have to write red, blue, and leave the others with that. I think that's it now for them. We did do 4, but one of them's gone into liquidation. Sign of the times. Two characters. And we drive down into the iconic Hatton Garden. If you've got to get a sparkler, this is where you go. To be the residence of Janet Street Porter. This is back in about the 1990s or something. Her mate had driven up, and they couldn't get, that was the car park, that bit there, this gate, and they couldn't get the car in because the silly girls were trying to drive it in front ways, and as I pulled up they asked me if I could help them get the car parked, so I said yeah, so I drove it forward and then reversed it in and that was the job done. But yeah, Janet was ever so grateful. But I'm not just saying women can't reverse, truly I'm not. I think there's the youth is into trying to be maybe more helpful and more merciful in some ways to people who are unfortunate. Whereas when I set out in the 80s, it was like you look after number one, everyone for themselves. When I first started, everybody near enough in the street used to have milk delivered. A lot of the things that actually started to interfere with all the milk deliveries being like every day to the doorsteps was the change in the way we live. Like supermarkets came into the equation a lot more, and they started to use the big 4-pinters as a loss leader. In the last few years, it's come back again. I tend to find it's more with the middle classes of this country. What's happening now, we're getting a little bit of a resurgence back with the doorstep deliveries because people want glass bottles.
Yeah. Well, I think that's us done, I reckon.